Y'all see this hair? Boy, I've been working my ass off to grow this hair. Welcome back, y'all, to the channel. I got some really good info for y'all today. It's been a minute, I know where you been at, and I've been trying to get y'all this information for a good while, but timing. So I got some really solid information. I've been sitting on this information for a month. Not really. The reason why it's been taking me so long because I already made this video. That video was 30 minutes long. I'm a fan of long form content. Who the hell's gonna watch that? So instead of doing that, I'm breaking it up into 3 different parts. In this part, we're gonna go over surgery and procedure. The next part is gonna be on pricing. And the third part is gonna be, am I satisfied with my results? So now that I was on my 13th or 14th month, like I'm going on my 14th month, I thought it was time to just reflect on how the transplant was as a whole. Like, how was the process? Do I think Bosley did a good job? Will I be getting another hair transplant? Am I satisfied with my results? Things like that. I really want to answer those questions and give a deep dive into what was going on during the process to where I am now. When I say I brought the loot, I brought the loot. I went to Bosley in March, pictures, medications, documents. I got it all. Bosley was able to keep everything and give it to me. So here I am providing that information to y'all. But before we get into that, here go a quick hair check. So this is what it looks like fully picked out. I'm starting to like it more and more when it's like this. It's just so full. It looks so good when it's like this. I'm gonna show y'all what it looks like curled up in one of my other videos, but when I go outside, I kind of just rock this all the time. It's a little bit different too. You never really see people rock an afro anymore. So it's like, I get looks all the time because like, oh shit, you got an afro. So anyway, I've been doing everything in my being to make sure my hair is healthy and strong, man. It's been consistent 4 hours a week, maybe even more, just on my hair, like shampooing, conditioning, massaging my scalp, using hair growth oil. I use my own hair growth oil now. Like, I've been doing that consistently for weeks now, and my hair has flourished. Here are 2 videos. I was making the same video, but I had the same fit and everything. Kind of this fit that I got on too. Anyway, I was making the same video, and this is in March and this is in April, and the amount of growth that I had from just a month. This is on top of the 2-strand twist, and then being consistent with my hair oil and shampoo conditioning, man. Dog, this growth is insane. Making sure your hair is so healthy and strong, it really helps when it comes to hair growth. On top of the Finasteride, Minoxidil I've been using, my hair has just flourished month to month, and I can only expect it to do better and better as the months go on. But yeah, here is the hair. Again, this is fully picked out. I rock it like this all the time now. This is kind of my look now. This is kind of how I rock out. But yeah, that's the hair. Let's get into these documents. All right, guys, here we are. This is the documentation that I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to try my best not to dox myself. I think I covered everything out. If I did dox myself, please don't be weird, please. But anyway, let's get into it. So this is just the release form, nothing really to see here. You can definitely pause and look at things if you want just some more time with it. But here's my progression notes. So on the 14th of March 2023 is when I got my hair transplant. The next day I came in for a hair wash. They applied ointment to the back of my scalp, an antibiotic ointment to the back of my scalp for my donor. And they just gave me hair washing instructions. On the 21st, I had called them about more hair washing tips, and they said I can use my fingertips, which was good when it came to removing the grafts and everything like that. Well, not removing the grafts, but removing the scabs that the grafts create. So on the 14th of April 2023 is when I got on oral minoxidil. If you can read the rest of this stuff, I don't know what they saying here. I saw this oral minoxidil, so that means that is when I got oral minoxidil. So looking back at it, I think that was a really good option for me, because when I even do my my hair oil, when I apply it to my scalp, it gets really hard to get all of my scalp, and imagine having to do that with minoxidil, where it really depends your absorption and making sure you get your scalp. It was going to be really difficult to do that. Now, oral minoxidil is a very dangerous medication if you have heart complications or anything that involves blood pressure and things like that, because it's a blood pressure regulation medication. I would not recommend it. Honestly, I don't recommend it at all. You can use topical minoxidil and it works just as well. So my case, I'm just going at it. It is what it is. If I had the side effects, I would have stopped it. I don't really have any major side effects. I don't have any side effects. I did when I started using it before. The first time I started using it, I was I had fatigue, and I was I was like, I had fatigue and I had headaches, and I did feel my heartbeat a little bit faster. I've been on it for almost a year now, so, well, actually a year now, so I don't have those side effects anymore. Those side effects lasted for a month, and I've been just good on it ever since. I do get my heart checked regularly, like not regularly, but every 3 months to make sure like nothing is going on. But don't recommend oral minoxidil. Please just stick to topical minoxidil. If you want oral minoxidil, you can get it, but again, like it's one of those dangerous medications where you don't really need it to get the results. I use it because I feel like it works better for me. Again, I don't recommend it, but use it if you want. Don't use it. Use it if you want. On March 14th, 2024, that's when I went back for the 1 year mark for my hair transplant. They just say here, it looks great, you know, it had a fantastic results and everything like that. Here is one of the most important documents, and another one is going to be really important too, but this is my operative report. So here is the physicians, the physician assistant, and the clinical staff. These were the people conducting my hair transplant. So Colton, I feel as though had the most important job. Colton had the job of extracting the grafts from the back of my head and placing them in this little pastry dish. Those pastry dishes were given to these lovely ladies, and they sorted them from like 1 graft, 2 graft, 3 graft. I remember them saying I had a lot of 1 and 2s. I didn't really have many 3s or 4s or anything else really. So I know I had like a lot of 1 and 2s, but they are the ones that are storing it. They put it in a little solution. Sometimes they put it in PRP. They didn't take PRP from me or blood from me, so they didn't use any PRP. But they had the job of making sure everything was going well with the grafts. I did hear something about like sometimes they cut the grafts, and maybe they don't like cut them because if you damage the grafts, like that graft is gone forever. So I don't know what the process is of doing that, but all I know is that they were sorting the grafts when I was there. Dr. Tan had another important job of placing the graft. Actually, he didn't place the grafts. There was some other people that are in another paper showing that, but he made the holes for my graft placement. So he would come in and he would facilitate everybody to make sure everybody was doing good, everybody was on track. And then when it was time for like the grafts to be placed inside my, like on the top of my head, he came in and poked the holes to make sure where the grafts were going to be placed. So he had that important job. To me, Colton really had the most important job, because if he messed up that, the grafts would have been done for. Like if he messed up any time when he was extracting those grafts, I wouldn't have like as good of a donor as I have now. So shout out to Colton. Thank you so much. But anyway, here we are as a Norwood 4. I could have swore they told me I was a Norwood 3, but looking at all the paperwork, they said it was a 4. So cool, I'm a Norwood 4 at the time. 1 hair transplant procedure. This is the instrument they were using. I don't know too much about that, but knowing what I know now is like, this might be a good range for like African American hair. So they might be using this type of instrument on you. I don't know too much about it. I looked it up briefly, but it did stick out to me. So this is something cool to see. I had 150 grafts placed on my hairline, 150 grafts placed on my fine, 13,000 on my 1300 on my course, and a total of 1677. So they gave me an extra 77 grafts. I don't know what this said, but this was a really good placement of like where they were going to put the grafts. So I had 150 on my hairline, 150 on my fine, and then most of the grafts were placed here. I did have a little bit of grafts placed up here, but none placed in my crown. So some grafts did reach a little bit at the top of this part, like the rest of the 77 were placed up here, but none has been placed in my crown, and that's kind of a light spot for me. So that's something that I'll talk about that in another video, but this is something that was given to me early on, and I was like, okay, this looks good, and that's what they proceeded with. Now here you go, one of the most important pieces of paper from this whole thing. This is the medications, and this is the like anesthesias, everything that was given to me to make the process go as smooth and easy as possible. So I do hear a lot of stories about when people go to Turkey, how painful the process is when it comes to like the needles and the injections, and sometimes even like the extraction of the grafts, like you still feel the pain. I did not have that going to Bosley, and I think this is why. So just off the rip, we can start from at 8:45. They gave me K-Flex. K-Flex is an antibiotic medication, and make sure you don't get an infection. Infections are really serious, and they can happen in this process. They can get cleared up, but you don't want an infection. You can die from an infection. So anything that you can do to reduce that, this K-Flex definitely helped that, because I did not have an infection. They gave me Valium. Valium has a little cousin that I think people know about, Xanax. So this is like an antidepressant medication. It's to calm your mood, calm your nerves, make sure you're not it calms your anxiety, to make sure that you're not like, your body doesn't tweak out because you're going through a serious process, right? So that's what Valium is used for. They gave me Versed. This is like a sleeping medication, or it was an injection. So these are pills, and these are an injection. So Versed was an injection. There's another name for it that's like the more common name. I think this is more of just a brand. But this did not knock me out, but like I was drowsy, like to the point where I think I fell asleep for 2 hours of the whole procedure, especially during the extraction part where he was taking the grafts on the back of my head. I fell asleep. I dozed off a few times and he had to stop real quick, because I'm like, dang, I'm messing up the back of my head by keep dozing off. So this really helped when it came to just like mellowing me out and making sure like I was dozed off and kind of not feeling too much of the pain. So was the ibuprofen. So ibuprofen is a pain medication. I'm pretty sure we all know about that one. It reduces pain. So when it came to the pain, I really didn't feel anything until like when I started going to like the end of the surgery of the placing, is when I felt like the most pain, but it wasn't painful. It was more of like the injections were wearing off, or the drugs were wearing off a bit. And so that 8-hour process, at the end of it, is when I started actually feeling something. But again, it wasn't like, oh, stop, it hurts too bad. Like, it was like, oh, I felt like the little holes or them placing the grafts in and they can hear it too. It's kind of gross. But yeah, I started feeling that process. Again, it didn't hurt, but it was something to notice that, oh, I can feel it now, And then when I left, they gave me they gave me K-Flex again, so the antibiotic medication. So looking at this, it looks like most of the now I'm seeing this, like this was at 5:30, so this was after I left, like when I was leaving. So that means most of like the why I didn't feel any pain was because of the anesthesia. So these are the two things that they would use to numb up the area. So they numbed up the back of my head and they numbed up the front. These were the main reasons why I didn't feel anything. These injections, lidocaine and marcaine, were the two injections that were used for my anesthesia. It was very painless, and that was one of the things that, like, I'm very happy that that happened. Like, these are one of the things where I'm like, oh man, it was so good to have this experience and not, like, it didn't feel like I was going through surgery, even though I was still up and awake, and I didn't feel the pain of it. So I guess that's like a different thing for foreign countries. Like, it might be they can't give you certain things. I don't know how things work. I just know at Bosley, I didn't really feel any pain. All right. When I went home, they gave me ibuprofen medications for the pain and zolpidem. Whatever this is sleep medication. When I say they only gave me one tablet, oh, actually, they gave me like 3. I can't see it here. But I think here it is. 3 tablets. I didn't take this until like maybe a month after, because I didn't really need it. Like, it wasn't too bad where I couldn't sleep. I took it a month after. When I say I had the best night sleeps of my life, if they would have gave me more of this, I would have been addicted. That's why drugs are bad. This right here, boy, if I would have had me more of this, this gave me the best night sleeps of my life. Don't do drugs, y'all. But I understand why people are on this medication. Like, this is like an insomnia medication. It knocked me out multiple times. I loved it, and I don't have it anymore. So bummer, but whatever. And here are the rest of the people that were working on the hair transplant. So here are the trimmers. Again, those are the people that were doing the pastry dish. They call them trimmers again, and maybe they do cut a little bit of things, but from what I know, they weren't like slicing things apart or anything like that. My grafts weren't damaged, so none that I know. But our grafts weren't damaged, so everything was good. My donor looks great, and the grafts that were placed here are all doing good. So shout out to the people here. These were my placers, so they were actually placing the grafts in the holes that Dr. Tan had put. So they would put the grafts in each part, and those were the grafts that were on top of my head. And shout out to these people. Y'all did an amazing hair transplant. Thank you so much. This is where I got now, so shout out to them when it comes to the hair transplant. I'm definitely satisfied with the procedure and the surgery, and the whole aspect of it. They made me feel comfortable. It wasn't painful. They definitely did a good job. So shout out to the people listed here. All right, and this is a little bit more medications and things like that. So K-Flex, the lidocaine, the Marcaine that was used, the ibuprofen. Boy, please don't let me get my hands on that. This is just like patient history. I think this is a good thing to look at as well. So I'm in good health pretty much, right? And I was on Finasteride, but no other medications. This was really interesting too. I don't know what this means, but family history. I can break this down for you guys real quick. On my dad's side, 2 of my uncles have a head full of hair, and then my dad and his other brother are bald or balding. I don't know my other uncle that is balding. He always wears a hat, so I don't know what's going on in his head. But I never get to see him, but my dad's balding. So on his side, it was like 50-50, right? On my mom's side, all them boys is bald, so I was going to be cursed either way. Was I supposed to get it this early? Life. But actually genetics. Anyway, on my mom's side, all the boys are bald on her side. I'm the youngest cousin to get it. Like, it just happened to me so fast. Even like my brother, he just started balding. He's like 44, so like, life, man. You know, you can't fight genetics sometimes. So yeah, this is my first hair transplant. I got a PRP session and I'm on Finasteride. But that is pretty much it for this video. A little bit more of like just the consultant work. The next video I'm going to go over pricing, but they had a consultation when I first got there. They talked to me about the grafts. So this is something I talked about in my video a little bit more, but when you extract the grafts, you have to have a technician that knows what they're doing, because as an African American or somebody with curly hair, once you get to that 3 and 4, your hair kind of curls underneath your scalp. So instead of like a straight shot down, it more does like a C shape, a kind of a C shape, or kind of just a curve. So depending on your technician, they will have to work with your hair to make sure they can get the whole graft instead of just damaging the graft. So if he was to just go straight down, he would damage his graft, and his graft would be useless. It would be dead. So him being at an angle, whichever, wasn't able to see like a picture of my graft, but whatever my grafts look like, either one of these 3, he would have been able to get the grafts in an angle. That way he would be able to use them and, you know, have them placed on top of my head. But yeah, that's it for this video, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it. This is going to be a little bit 3-part information video. Pricing is next, so stay tuned for that video. But thank you as always. Hope you learned a lot from this. Let me know if I can do any more. Like, I know I've been missing a lot of messages on Instagram. Like, if y'all ever want to talk to me, just message me on Instagram. I'm going to be a lot more like proactive on there, so I can actually help people out instead of missing those messages. So I'm sorry about that for the people that I have missed, but definitely doing more you know, when it comes to this. So yeah, but yeah, thank you all for watching the video. Peace and love. Deuces.